Hi everyone, my name is Joe Belmont and I will be talking about PNC Bank as my company for the Capstone project. So to start, as an overview of the bank, PNC is the product of a merger between Pittsburgh National Corporation and Provident National Corporation out of Philadelphia in 1983, but originally it started as the Pittsburgh National Bank way back in 1852. But PNC Bank is one of the largest financial services institutions in the U.S. and has assets of over $554 billion. They do have four international offices in Canada, Germany, China, and the U.K. But they have a retail branch network here in the U.S. that expands pretty much from coast to coast. And they have a presence in 48 of the largest markets in the U.S. And they're engaged in retail banking that does involve residential mortgages, corporate and institutional banking, and asset management as well. But overall, they're one of the largest banks in the U.S. based on deposits and branches, and their corporate headquarters is located here in Pittsburgh. And as far as their competitors go, their main competitors include Bank of America, Fifth Third Bank, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, and Citigroup. And the banks listed above, they're all the larger banks than, they're larger than PNC in general. But, PNC, it does strive to be as large as a lot of these banks, and most of them are and do have an international presence, and that's one thing that PNC does lack. But one comparison that I focused on mainly was Bank of America. And they're actually the second largest bank, only behind JP Morgan and Chase. And Bank of America has a total of $2.35 trillion in assets, and they also operate in over 35 countries. Now, as far as biggest news from PNC Bank, most recently, just in this year, back in June, they acquired BBVA, and they actually paid $11.5 billion for the acquisition. Now, the official integration did not happen until just this past October, and PNC converted 2.6 million customers, 9,000 employees, and over 600 branches across 700 states into PNC customers and locations. But this chart here shows how PNC now covers fully coast to coast. So the expansion really benefited PNC to try to get a larger presence here out west. And with the BBVA acquisition, they now have a presence in the 29 of the top 30 metropolitan areas here in the U.S. So it really had a large impact on their expansion overall and becoming a larger bank. So when you're looking at PNC's performance targets, we can look at the chart here, the ROIC, as it's a commonly used metrics in assessing a company's financial performance. I used Bank of America in this metric as well as my comparison with PNC Bank. And it's a good proxy for a company's profitability, and the ratio measures how efficiently and effectively a company uses its total invested capital. So they have PNC Bank has a total of 3.42% ROIC, while Bank of America has an ROIC of 3.37%. So the ROIC is fairly similar for both banks. However, PNC does have a slight advantage, and I believe this assessment proves to be accurate. As PNC Bank just recently did the acquisition with BBVA, in which they actually paid cash for. This chart also shows that PNC is in good financial health as well. And this graph here basically breaks down the PNC's financial revenue by segment. So this really shows you that the largest part of the bank is retail, which makes up 42% of the overall revenue for PNC. And corporate and institutional bank does follow with 38%. So retail and corporate and institutional banking sectors are the most important and the biggest areas of business for PNC. So obviously it kind of shows where they are lacking and where they have room for expansion as well. So to look at the banking industry as a whole, right now the biggest trend in financial services industry is the move and transformation to digital, which includes mobile and online banking. So mobile apps and options are now pretty much requirements for all major banks. Today, customers want more than just a mobile app. They want all sorts of tools and features that can be readily available to them. So the shift towards digital in the financial sector has led to an increase in competition among the larger banks. And according to CB Insights, overall fintech funding was nearly $32.6 billion in 2018, which was up over 80% from just 2017, so just a one-year difference. Now, when we look at PNC's mission and values, PNC states that our values are critical to their overall success and that their customers and communities deserve the best, and they want to serve to the fullest potential that they possibly can. But their values include performance, quality of life, respect, teamwork, customer focus, diversity and inclusion, and integrity. The chart here shows PNC's values, and you can see they also focus on being a very diverse workplace where everyone can contribute to the overall success of the bank. And PNC conducts business with very high ethical standards as well. They create value over the long term from a couple of their main strategic priorities, and they're especially known for, like I mentioned, being a very diverse workplace. And in 2019, PNC spent more than $372 million with supplier diversity program suppliers, and that actually greatly exceeds the industry standards in that realm. So when we look at PNC Bank's strategic initiatives and their main priorities, they're focused on expanding their leading bank franchise to new bank markets and also to digital platforms, and overall deepening customer relationships by delivering superior banking experience and financial solutions, by leveraging technology to innovate and enhance products, services, security, and processes. And PNC's capital priorities are to support customers, business investment, and also while maintaining appropriate capital in light of economic conditions and other regulatory expectations. And then PNC's national expansion strategy is made to grow customers with digitally led banking. And now when you look at the SWOT analysis for PNC Bank, they do have multiple strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but they do have many strengths compared to other banks in the industry. Over the past few years, PNC invested in developing a strong brand portfolio and has expanded into new product categories as well. PNC Bank has good returns on capital expenditure and is successful at executing new projects, generating positive returns on capital expenditure from creating new revenue streams. PNC Bank is doing a good job in expanding into new markets and recently has expanded coast to coast with the BBVA acquisition. And they do also have some weaknesses that they need to address. Their overall profitability ratio and new contribution percentage are also below the industry average. And they're also not known for being highly successful at integrating other companies that have a different work culture. And PNC does well in its core business areas. However, they have been facing some hardships being successful in other business units. So that's something they do need to be focusing on. Now, as far as their opportunities, they do have a large amount of free cash flow. So that also allows them to invest in other market and product segments. PNC's market development allows PNC in general to gain competitiveness and to expand rapidly. There are also new environmental policies that create a level playing field for mostly the main larger banks in the industry, and it can allow them to gain market share. And there's also an increase in consumer spending. It can also help PNC gain new customers and increase market share. Now they have an opportunity to grow its online and mobile banking platforms as well. And then new technology in today's digital age proves to be a pivotal point in overall success of a bank. And there's an increased initiative in developing new tools and platforms with technology. Now there is an increased risk of losing customers due to a competitor's advancement in developing technology or new platform. And new threats are being created due to the increasing regulatory challenges as well. But the biggest threat to banks or other bank competitors in competition, as there's so much competition between the larger banks in the industry today. Another large threat to banks is the possibility of a recession, which would greatly impact the banking industry. It does have always have a chance of happening. And then with the increased use of all of the online mobile banking, there's an increase in the chances of data breaches, and that's another area that PNC and its competitors are monitoring and trying to take the necessary steps to prevent them from occurring. And for PNC's core competency, it revolves around its wide range of products and service offerings. PNC offers everything from student loans, auto loans, home mortgages, wealth management, and many more. And PNC Bank would be a strong fit for customers looking for both a savings and a checking account within a single bank. And they're a one-stop shop for banking and financial services as well. And they also have a wide range of retail locations all over the U.S. And they're also a bank that has a long history of success and a well-established platform. And one of their unique features includes PNC Virtual Wallet, which does have 3 accounts that are basically put together in one overall account. So to describe that in a little bit more detail, the 3 accounts of the Virtual Wallet are Spend, Reserve, and Growth. So the Spend account is like a regular checking account, and then the Reserve account is for more of a short-term savings and along trying to grow some goals as well, trying to put some money aside in case you need some more spending money. And then the Growth account is solely a savings account for long-term savings. Now, if you ever end up going negative in your overall checking balance, most banks will charge you overdraft fees daily, but PNC does have a low cash mode as well, which prevents overdrafts and is especially useful for students. In fact, PNC actually won an award for Best Overall Bank for students with its virtual wallet and low cash mode platforms. So they're also involved with other technology-based solutions to create faster and more accurate payments. They're part of a multi-bank C2C payment network, which is called Zelle, which many of you may know about. So the customer can send and receive money from an application just by having a person's email or phone number as well. And then also in 2018, PNC partnered with Ripple to utilize blockchain technology to increase international transactions. And then another exciting factor looking into the future for PNC banks in general involves its partnership with Coinbase. So just this fall of 2021, Coinbase announced its partnership with PNC Bank, and it hopes to expand its investment portfolio for clients interested in crypto assets. They want to use blockchain technology to scale operations across the network, and they plan on using blockchain to develop the bank's internal infrastructure. And then overall, as far as my recommendation for the bank, would be to increase its international presence and continue to grow and implement diversification strategies to set itself from its competitors. So there are many banks that are like one another. Creating a unique platform or something that can draw in customers will be the key to success in overcoming the competition. And for example, as I used Bank of America early on in the presentation here, they have a presence in over 35 countries. So if PNC can really start to expand in other countries, that'll be a key growth factor as well. And then after doing my research on PNC Bank, I can conclude that there are a lot of things right that they're doing right, and as they're being a very diverse workforce and establishing its values and code, which resonate on its employees. And they show to be a financially healthy company and operating efficiently and effectively. On the technology side, they have a lot of new applications and more exciting enhancements upcoming. But I believe PNC Bank's on the right path and will one day be as large of a bank like Bank of America or Wells Fargo here in the banking industry. But I appreciate you all for listening here, and have a good rest of your day.